Alright, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to our 5th annual Soul Blazer race labeled Good Luck and or Blame Everhate. Hope you are having a nice weekend so far. My name is eLmaGus. I'll be your restreamer for the day. If you don't know what Soul Blazer is, we'll get into that in due time, of course. The reason we have this race annually is a bit of a sad one, of course, but to explain real quick, we have this Good Luck and or Blame Everhate race every year around March, April, around that time, because our good friend Everhate, he passed away very unexpectedly 5 years ago now, and in his honor, every time we get together around this time a year and re-race in his honor, because this is the game we kind of got to know him for, and we want his legacy to live on, of course. But yeah, today is all about having some fun and honoring the memory of Everhate, and in the commentary booth today joining me will be Jin Tatsu. Hello and welcome. Or not.
Hello. Yes, no, I'm here.
Okay, hi.
Welcome, everybody. I hope you're going to enjoy the race today. She's going to be good. Let me know if my audio is not too killer for you.
I will adjust if necessary, of course. No problem, no worries there. I think all of our racers are already good to go. This is the first time ever that everybody was ready before me, so it's a good start, I would say. Let me quickly make sure I got everything set up properly, and then I'll ask the racers if they're properly ready and we can get this thing going. Alright, here we go.
Hope you're all excited. We got some new runners on the layout this year. Mr. Lost Core coming out of left field and just smashing this game for all it's worth. And of course, our resident old school runners, Mr. La Hulk, the kind of king of Soul Blazer. StingerPA, of course, has put in a lot of time in this game. He was one of the original runners. And Sinstream, who is more of a recent addition. I think he came onto the scene like 3 years ago or something like that. But he's been putting in the work and gets good times and he plays good games.
Alright, looks like I have a small technical problem. I'll quickly try to fix that. Looks like everybody's ready. Gonna leave in 20 seconds. GLHF. I'm gonna get it going in 10 seconds from now. Let's see if... Alright, that fixed it properly. Good. We're gonna get this going.
Lost Core getting a 2-pixel jump on everybody.
Nice. Yeah, so timing starts in this game, surprisingly, once the final text box here is cleared and you actually get moving. And here we go.
And there they go. So first thing you're going to do in this sword, you're entered into this little introduction area where they give you the first sword of the game, and a little bit of a dip into how enemy layers work. So you'll see this red sort of circle on the ground. Enemies will come out of that at different numbers in different ways. Some will come just pouring out, some will come, sort of at a more timed kind of thing. But basically that's going to be a common thing, and there's going to be a lot of ways to manipulate those enemies that are coming out. But the first thing they're going to have to do is go pick up the sword here, or sorry, the sword, the first magic spell. This wizard here, he's kind of a magician. He's explaining to you that all the creatures of the land have been taken by death toll, and you have to go find these layers and destroy the enemies to release the townsfolk. And he gives you this your first magic spell, Fireball, which you're going to notice this little orb floating around our character. That is the soul of the magician, and you can get different souls later in the game, but for speed purposes we will be skipping all of those. However, The important thing about this Mage Soul is this is where your magic comes from. So wherever that orb is positioned is where your, in this case, fireballs are going to projectile from. So it's kind of important to make sure that your orb is in the right spot, and can be a little annoying at certain times with certain spells. But for now, they're just going to kill through the first few enemies here and move on, collect some of the important layers. So a lot of these layers are unnecessary. The point of this game for speed is to just get the ones that we need to move on to the next area, and everything else, well, I guess they'll have to be saved later by someone else. Yeah, it doesn't look like he started unless it's frozen for me.
Yeah, Hulk, apparently his IRC stopped. Little handicap here of 2 minutes. No big deal.
Yeah, not gonna make a huge difference in the end. I'll probably catch it up anyway.
Easy. You can, yeah. For now, we have
In the
Sam
meantime,
on Silver Star and doing the first couple layers here. You explained it very well with the magic. Magic, the very essential part of this run. We're not gonna bother, like you said, too much with picking up most of the souls, but the souls we have, which is the fireball and the light arrow we're gonna get later, very crucial to being very fast in this game.
Lost Core already near the end of this first area. You're going to see something shortly here that's going to be a very common staple in this run. So dying in this run is not really a huge deal. If you die, you're going to lose all your gems, which you need to cast magic, which are the kind of gold orbs that the enemies are dropping. However, you'll lose no progress, you won't have to restore back to your save or anything like that. So we abuse death warping a lot, as you're about to see Lost Core here too. And it makes for a lot of quick, nice shortcuts.
Alright, so Hulk got going 3 minutes 10 seconds after everybody else, just for as a frame of reference. His IRC crashed, so he couldn't see. That was
saying he's only about 10 seconds behind, regardless of what we're.
I mean, Lost Core is a really, really good runner, so I don't think Hulk can make that up unless he makes a huge mistake. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. See how it goes.
That's okay. They all got their individual timers. We're not worried.
We'll figure it out, yeah.
In the meantime, though, next step here is to get into the water mill keeper. He's having trouble turning the wheel to get the power restored to the underground elevator, but you realize that he's just trying to turn the wheel the wrong way. Nobody ever taught him lefty, loosey, righty, tighty. If that applies for your country of origin. And you see them picking up this layer. Just a very brief time save, but the way you want to kill the enemies on this layer that Lost Core is getting now, you're going to do so in such a way that they're just on or off screen when you end up finishing off the layer. So then on the way back through this area, we can collect it and save ourselves 8-9 tiles or whatever.
Yep. There's a lot of these micro optimizations like that we'll be using throughout the run.
And they do really add up.
Yeah, at this point, this game has been optimized quite heavily in the past couple of years. World records have changed hands more than once in the history. It's been relatively inactive recently, but last year the record changed hands like, I think, 3 times. So, yeah, still lots of stuff to be found in this game, surprisingly, even though it's a relatively straightforward game.
It's exactly all those micro optimizations that make all the difference these days. So on that exact note, you may see some slightly different strats from some of the runners on certain layers, but for the most part it's gonna be pretty mixed.
And yes, this is not a randomizer. Should have led with that in this day and age.
Indeed, indeed. These plant enemies are probably the worst enemies in this world, just because their movement is totally RNG.
Yeah,
and
we all
kind of want to have some good health for near the end of this. can get sticky.
Yep. We all know birds are jerks, but in this game, plants are also jerks, definitely.
Easily, for sure.
Yeah. You see Lost Core right now using his fireball to kill some demons ahead of time, so he can make more spawn ahead of time. He's also taking a little bit of damage because we want a Death Warp here. Again. Very crucial part of the run as well. Death Warps are going to be used quite a bit.
Oh yeah, this is very risky too. If you're gonna die anywhere in the first world in a speedrun, chances are it's this spot right here, or possibly the first Death Warp. I'm embarrassed to say I've died there more than...
Yeah, as especially in big races, it's a bit nerve-wracking when you sit there and you know exactly, okay, if I die I lose 2 minutes and I'm done. And then you do, and it's like, oh man.
Yeah, and this game works on a weird half-tile system, or even one pixel system, I would say, where sometimes you're just not perfectly aligned with the tile you're on, so you're going to move into an enemy to try and set up the Death Warp, then when you move off, you're not aligned right, and then he hits you one more time and finishes.
Yeah, exactly. Enemies also move based on how you're positioned towards them, so that can catch you off guard quite quickly if you're just, like, barely off.
Yeah, and you have no iframe, so if an enemy touches you, it's like constant.
Mm-hmm. Let's go for world record on dives today. We shall.
We just woke up, we just kind of crept into Lisa's dream with this dream rod item that they picked up earlier, and released a layer inside of her dream, and then she gets all mad because you were inside of her house, even though you were just inside of her dream, and then kicks you out, and then as soon as you leave, she's like, oh, come back, but you know, we ain't got time to come back and hear her story. And this first world just sort of introduces you to the concept of going back and forth after releasing layers. So this one has a lot of backtracking.
Mm-hmm.
But they're getting close to the end.
Yep.
Also, we're taking some intentional damage here as we will be doing a Death Warp after collecting this final item here to move on.
And one key component of the speedrun as well is you do see the numbers at the top of everybody's screen, which tell you level, experience, and gems. Gems we already talked about are for magic. And one very important thing to keep track of though is your experience, because after you gain a certain amount of experience, you do level up, and a level up gives you actually a full refill in HP. So part of the run is going to be keeping track of your XP, which all runners should be experienced enough to do that. And you know, you can utilize stuff like damage boost and all that, and then time your level up perfectly to just get a full refill right on time, and save time that way because you don't actually have to heal.
I guess something else that we never really covered was this game has a sort of strafing. When you hold the L and R, your character will hold out the sword and you'll be able to move, you know, facing the direction that you're still facing. The other benefit of this is sword poking enemies does constant frame damage as well, whereas in many situations, especially with bosses, it's going to be a lot faster than swinging your sword.
Yep, we're gonna utilize that for the first time on the World 1 boss here, which we're approaching relatively quickly.
You may just recognize if you're a Illusion of Gaia fanboy and have never played this. Fanboy or girl or other.
I see one in chat.
And you've also got these metal enemies here. I'm not sure whose audio is on right now, but you can hear the annoying ting if you're holding out your sword.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few enemies in this game that can only be destroyed by specific weapons, these ones being one of them.
Very nice shot there from Lost Core with the fireball. That layer is not necessary, but he grabs just a little bit of extra experience to grab a level up here at the end.
Yeah, this is also going to change whether you kill those torches or not will change where your next level is going to be in World.
One other key component about level ups is that every other level up you gain either one attack or one defense point, and you gain one more attack here on level 3, which for the poking start we use is not really relevant, but yeah. We're going to actually, what you're supposed to do is poke him and then go back, use another escalator, and all that, and avoid damage, but since we have a medical herb which automatically triggers when your HP runs out and refills all your HP, we equip that, and then we just, with the right setup, we can take just barely few enough damage to make use of the medical herb and not die while we damage him constantly with the poking, and he should die. If you make a slight mistake there, though, it can quickly happen that you might actually take too much damage and die. Fortunately, both Lost Core and Stinger did it very well. We're about to see if Sin can follow.
Yeah, things can go real bad real fast.
Yeah, if you run...
get too close.
Yeah.
Or miss a... get too far away and miss a few...
This is the first time ever, folks, that we have a World 1 on RPG Limit Break where nobody died.
Yeah, I don't think...
Round of applause. I believe in Hulk. I believe like, he's gonna not die. But, you know, round of applause for that. This is the first time ever.
To be fair, it's usually me dying in World 1.
I've died there too before. For those folks just joining us, Hulk had an IRC failure. His IRC disconnected just when the race started, so he started 3 minutes late, which is a bit unfortunate, but we'll keep track of the individual time, of course.
Lost Core moving on to World 2, collecting one of 6 very important stones that will allow you access to the final world. Since this is random, or this isn't randomizer, we will be getting them in the right order.
Yay! Alright, we're on to Grass Valley in World 2, and this is where stuff becomes difficult a little bit. So you already talked about the plants in World 1, which were already annoying. Here, we will have plants that not only move randomly, unlike every other enemy in the game, but they also have a stick they poke at you when you're right in front of them, and they are invulnerable while they do that. Very nice layer from Lost Core there. He preemptively did that with magic, very good. That is a lot tougher than it looks. But yeah, you gotta be really careful because normally what you're supposed to do in World 1, you're supposed to pick up armor and all that stuff. We don't do that because we want to go fast. So when enemies hit us here, we take quite a bit of damage, so we want to be very careful with how we approach all of this. Let's see. Alright.
Absolutely. And the layer here that they just killed those plants across the way with. It's optional to do this here now. It's a little bit faster, of course, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. Sometimes you only get 2 shots to work with to kill 3 enemies, and they just don't line up right.
Indeed.
But now you'll see very dangerous approach. It's the best approach, really, but you see the way that they sort of said kitty corner to the plant layer. If that plant comes out, as long as it doesn't move left, they're going to be safe. But you really got to keep an eye out. If he moves left and you're in that particular position to the upper left of the layer, that's when he's going to reach up and attack you. But he will move and attack from different angles, depending on where you are and where he is. So it's just kind of dangerous. Got to keep your eyes open.
Yeah, I think all runners did really well there. From what I could see. It's a bit. This part of World 2 is a bit of the more chill part. There's a lot of mudmen here that you have to kill, and they are easily manipulatable. They work pretty straightforwardly. Lost Core at the plant layer here. Oh, very nice lineup. Almost.
See Lost Core killed those extra mudmen from the layer above. That's not necessary. He's just squeezing out a little bit of extra experience, possibly more gems. Not all runners will do this. No, I don't bother with it.
There's also a bottle here that you can get if you do that, but I don't think anybody will go for that. Bottles, if you equip them and you die, you will maintain your gems, which is pretty nice. Can be quite handy as a safety item, but not required, of course.
Yeah, there's basically, I mean, if you're doing like the straight to the wall route, there's only one point where we'll be collecting and using.
Got another plant layer here. Fortunately, if you position yourself like Lost Core does, they are relatively predictable in what they do. You might get hit like he did just now when they move left, which is a bit unfortunate, but other than that, very predictable. And he has reasonable health going into the Fire Shrine here, second part of the Grass Valley. He's gonna get a level up here momentarily. There you go. Very nice. And the Fire Shrine here is where we are going to upgrade our magic just one time during the speedrun, because the Light Arrow magic is here. And Light Arrow is pretty much just like Fireball, but it shoots into 4 directions and it's slightly stronger. So that's gonna be a major upgrade for us that we use throughout the run to kill enemies that are far away from us really quickly.
Yes, Sin is in a real sticky position here. One more hit and he's toast. Typically you want to tank a hit coming in here, but he is not able to do so, so he's going to have to take these layers and ghosts a little bit. Oh, never mind, he just needs the skill of a bunny and he can squeeze right through without taking a hit. What a pro. We get our first introduction to these teleporting lizards. One of the other very annoying enemies of this area. You're trying to get a nice good time and then they just start running off on you and you gotta chase them down and things get sour real.
Yeah. So even when they're invisible, they still damage you if they move through you. So that is really, really annoying to keep track of, but with good positioning, you can handle them relatively well.
Yeah, now we enter the underground section where we're going to see these red hot platforms. The game intends you to find the ice armor, which will allow you to walk over these without taking damage, but it's very slow, so...
Sounds like the time, yeah.
Yeah, so we kind of set up the experience route and you know, our levels and HP and herbs that we have to get through this just right, without having to worry about waiting for these heated platforms to heat up and cool down.
Yeah, Stinger had a bit of bad luck there with the teleporters, unfortunately. He had to take a bit of extra time to chase one down, but that's just what happens sometimes. Can't do much about that.
Yeah, because you don't want to lose too much damage on these lizards, so just trying to chase through and tank through damage to get to them is not the best idea.
Nice.
You'll lose that time times 10 underground waiting for these cycles on the platforms.
Yeah, Lost Core obtained the Light Arrow, which does cost twice as many gems as the Fireball, but is also very, very powerful. I actually missed how many lizards he hit from far away, because you can preemptively kill lizards while you're clearing a lair already here with the Light Arrow, if you get lucky, but... yeah. He's gonna use a medical herb here. Oh, actually, he had enough health to go through there, nice. Alright, there's the medical herb trigger. This is a planned use of the medical herb. We have it specifically so we can just, like Jin said earlier, run over here, not worry about it. See Stinger trying as well to kill some of these teleporting lizards preemptively with the Light Arrow.
Yeah, it can be annoying. So once he goes up, he's pretty much off screen.
That's
You get one more chance if he goes up.
Hulk is already in the Fire Shrine too, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's almost like he's good at this game.
The other thing to note here is gem count. Gem count's going to be very, very important for the next world, which of course gems are completely RNG, but everybody's looking pretty good. Stinger went for some extra gems just for safety. There's a couple different spots here. You could take the chest for the 100, or near the end of this section there's another chest for 60, which is a little bit quicker to get and depends on how low you are, how much of a buffer you want.
Yep. So after we're done in the Fire Shrine here, we have to go back, which is the plant layer that we have killed preemptively very early on. Has a connection to the main hub, and you can go back to Greenwood that way. We have to do some things here in the little town in order to progress with the story. We have to grab the leaves of Greenwood in order to access the rafts that are behind the Fire Shrine, and we have to do a little bit of collecting for that, but after that, we'll keep on going.
Yes, not only animals we're saving here, the plants talk, the rafts talk,
Everything.
rocks, bushes, everything.
Yep. Hawk unfortunately doesn't have splits up on stream, so I don't actually know how well he's doing comparatively, but yeah. We'll guess. He has a timer, but I haven't played this game in so long that I forgot what a good time is at certain points.
This next section coming up is one of my favorite sections of World 2 here. There's a lot of gem use, a lot of just hordes of enemies coming through. It can get pretty wild pretty quick.
Yep, you're trying to provoke as many as you can here at the same time and then shoot them all at the same time. You want to be a bit careful that you do not shoot when too many enemies are on screen because that causes lag, but so you want to like kind of try to shoot one preemptively, then roll in, shoot the next ones, and so on and so forth. Lost Core did a very good job at that. Very nicely done.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be getting bodied by these red spirity orb things. They do a lot of damage.
Yeah, in World 2 you're kind of supposed to pick up the ice armor like you said, and there's also a sword that if you would swing it would paralyze these suns, but you know, that sounds also slow to get, so we don't do that. Sword upgrades in this game, in general, don't really matter that much because of the way damage works. Like, swords will do more damage, of course, but at the same time, you can also dish out a lot of damage with even the first sword in the game if you do it right, so... as long as you have a reasonable level, which the game does a pretty good job at experience scaling you for the worlds you're in, you quickly catch up in experience if you enter a new world. As long as you have the proper experience, you have a reasonable shot at killing enemies relatively quickly. So upgrades in that regard don't matter too much, other than maybe damaging a certain type of enemy, like metal enemies or spirit enemies and all that.
Yeah, we'll see if Stinger does it, but I don't know if you noticed, Lost Core was doing some very specific movements on the last group of lizards that he fought there, running a little bit of a box. This is to spawn some enemies off screen, but to move so quickly in a way that they don't move from the lair, so that you can set up a magic shot to kill them all in one blast. See if Stinger is using that strat today.
Yeah, he was supposed to pick up a little helper soul as well earlier on that would actually light up the rooms here that are so dark, but since that also costs time for us and we know where we're going, we don't do that. We just like run through.
Even the helper soul is kind of weird though. It creates like the area of light around your magic orb, so this area of light is constantly shifting around you, and I find it bothers me more than anything, even if I do have.
Yeah. Alright, Lost Core didn't actually open the lair, it made it back to the hub, so if he dies, that's gonna be painful. This is arguably the hardest boss here, the 3 lion head statues. They have very predictable patterns, but if you misstep very slightly, they will be in your face and you will die really fast.
Yeah, I think 2, maybe 3 hits you can survive at full health.
I jinxed it, no!
Oh! Commentator's curse.
My fault. My bad. I'll take it. No, you know what? Let's play Everhate.
Oh, that is what we're here for.
Yeah. But you saw how quickly he had half a tower misstep, and that quickly the statues are acting up, and you just get killed really, really fast.
Yeah, the manip on those statues is very specific, and if you're off tile even by a little bit, it's very hard to.
Stinger is in a little bit of trouble too. He doesn't have a lot of health right now. Oy 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 oy.
But he's fine.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Every
so
time Every time you go back to the main hub, you get a free refill, and he opened the lair, so Stinger right now, actually, in the lead. No pressure, of course. And I think Lost Core will maybe open up the lair today, yeah. You should probably also... no, he's just going for it.
In.
Yeah.
He's brave. He needs to make up that time. I don't even want to waste those.
Yeah.
Proper manip.
Alright,
Stinger's good.
Yeah, looking good.
It's really the ice one that's the biggest worry. The fire one can be a little iffy if you get off of one.
Yeah, one of the interesting things is there is a version differences between the US and the Japanese version. We're currently, of course, playing the North American release. And one of the key differences is actually that this boss here, the third statue, has a different movement pattern on both versions, which is really strange. The US one, fortunately, though, is very easily manipulatable and not very dangerous. Yeah, on the Japanese version, however, the third statue can, well, give you some real trouble.
Yeah, you see Sin, he picked up the light orb, or like the light spirit. It's not exactly a huge time loss. We're talking a few seconds of dialogue, but I mean, gotta go fast.
Hey man.
It was nice that we're able to, you know, to showcase it here.
Yeah, he's doing it for fans, of course. And of course Hulk is already at the boss almost as well, so I safe to say Hulk is in the lead technically, because yeah, it's the fastest run going right now, I guess.
Well, we'll see the difference. Stinger just entered St. L's at exactly 20.
Well, I doubt Hulk needs 3 minutes to get to St. L, but you know. I wouldn't have thought that Lost Core dies, so maybe Hulk dies too. I don't know. Sin doing a very good job. Lost Core, by the way, is the person that snatched the world record last year away from Hulk, who just like said, I can't have that. I'm gonna get it back, and he did immediately, because that's what Hulk does.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. This area they're in right now, it's known as South Erda. This area has these rocks, and these rocks are very, very difficult to kill without magic. Not only do they have lots of HP, they do a lot of damage, and they move quickly and scarily. And if you don't have enough gems coming into this section out of World 2, it can be a huge time loss. So that's why gem management is very important.
Yep.
You can see here Lost Core, because of his deaths, he doesn't have the gems to work with.
This is the worst part about the death, actually. Not only do you lose time, but if you don't have gems, this area is the absolute worst area in the game. I don't think I would hate anything more than having no gems here.
Yeah, there's a way you can manipulate the rocks for a safer approach, but it's not easy. You can basically, if you get to the left of a rock, it'll want to go right. So as soon as it goes right, if you chase it to the next tile, to the next tile, to the wall, it'll stop moving, but good luck doing that without it.
Well, he's holding on so far. It's not looking very hot, though. Yeah.
Stinger's in a good spot for his death warp, though. It's another area we're going to be death warping.
Yeah. Once you're past this area, you're breathing a little easier, because after this it gets a lot easier. We're story-wise getting a free armor upgrade here, our first armor in the game, and that will protect us quite handily from damage. The bubble armor, which we need in order to breathe underwater.
No, although we're getting the bubble armor now, we will not be using it just yet, as we will be setting up another death warp. So the way it works, if you go underwater without the bubble armor, you just sort of take a damage every second. Not a huge deal if you got the health to work with, but trying to explore this whole area without it, you're not going to make it.
Lost Core getting bailed out there by a big gem drop, nice. Taking a little bit of damage before the death warp, and he's caught up again. He's out of the hard parts.
They did a fantastic job of catching up.
And look who's here, Hulk is here too. Ooh, but look at that, the Hulk died live on stream. Can you?
Oh my, I can't even.
No. No. The Hulk died live on stream. I can't believe it.
Okay, so who hasn't died this run yet?
StingerPA actually.
Did Sin take it out?
No, I don't think so. Not yet. Well, they
let's go
all
under
death
those.
warp, but yeah. Well, that's quite the upset, honestly.
Yeah, I have no idea where this is going now.
This
I
is
still see
interesting.
Hulk coming out on top because it's Hulk, but you never know.
I love it. It's interesting because like Hulk and Lost Core definitely put in the most time out of all the runners that we have on stream right now. Not to say that they are all solid, right? But just Hulk and Lost Core are the two ones that have the slight edge with the micro optimizations and all that. So it's interesting to see how they will handle this situation right now.
Oh, Hulk got bubbled! Yeah, if you ain't got the gems, you basically need to, what I refer to as leashing the rocks, where you kind of get it to move and then just kind of move up one tile at a time while swinging at the same time. It's the best way to get the most damage on them. Otherwise, if you just try and stand still, sometimes they'll get in a position where they just go back and forth. I'm totally blown away by this. Anyway, we got Stinger heading over to Rockbird, the next section of St. L's. This is one of the larger areas, or larger worlds in the game, rather. You gotta kind of traverse the seafloor to get to each place, and they're all kind of out of the way from each other. Stinger will be grabbing the safety herb, not necessarily needed, but RNG can throw a wrench in the gears and mess things up if you don't get it, so especially for race purposes, you want to collect that. Though we'll see, with the deaths on the Hulk and Lost Core, there may be some boldness here. Or on that same token, it could be the opposite because of the deaths, there may be some extra safety here. And this, of course, is another area we'll be doing a death warp, so tanking some damage is not a bad idea. It's not going to hurt you, really. Ooh, Stinger did not pull the rock down far enough. It was good recovery anyway. Yeah, so you can see here, they're just getting right in the monkey's faces, getting down to 1 or 2 HP.
Very nicely done.
Looks like Sin is going herbless.
Ooh, nice. I like it. An area coming up that is very, very dangerous. Very dangerous. And if you don't pick up the safety herb, well, you gotta manage your health really well. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that pans out for everybody.
Yeah, the next area is also an area that you really want to manage your gems really well and pray that you get good RNG on the big gem drops.
That too, yeah. If you don't have enough gems, it can get dicey pretty quick too, and you lose quite a bit of time. Stinger doing really well today.
Oh no, he's collecting herb, he's just collecting it after the fact.
Interesting. Yeah, in a race situation, I would definitely recommend grabbing the herb, no matter what, almost. Of course, Hulk and Lost Core would disagree. Probably, anyway, but... Especially now.
Did Lost grab the herb?
Probably not. I can't imagine he would. He didn't open the lair before the lion head statues. You think he grabs the herb, man?
Well, after what happened as a result, you never know.
I mean...
Guys,
but you gotta go a bit risky now. Gotta go fast. Gotta catch up. Now, Stinger has had pretty bad luck with gems here. Like 14? That's not so hot.
14 is not a good number to be rolling in here with.
Hopefully you can get some lucky breaks here.
Yeah, so this is the problem with this area. You see these fiery rocks falling from the sky. Totally RNG. And if enough decide to fall on you and lower your health enough, you may not be able to get through this without the safety herb, as we need to tank a bunch of lava damage near the end of this section.
Indeed. Stinger got one 10 drop there at the very end, fortunately, so maybe... We probably need one more, but then he should be fine if he hits all his magic shots. I forget what the actual amount is you need. It's about 40-ish, I think. With perfect shots. But that's really... Perfect shots are hard here.
I think 56 is kind of the minimum magical number. Maybe 48, I guess, if you leave the last monkey and finish him off by sword. That is not going to help.
That's not good, no. Well, Stinger will definitely lose some time here. Unless every drop from now is like a 10 gem drop? No. Okay.
You see there, Stinger getting on that weird half-tile alignment. Sometimes once you're on it, the only way to fix yourself is to just sort of buck yourself into the corner or something like that so you realign.
Mm-hmm.
Lost Core doing great on gems. This is where you kind of want the big... Oh, that was a helpful one. Because you got 5 monkeys coming out of this layer. So now he's out of gems. He's got 3 monkeys left. He's going to have to go around the long way and lure the monkeys down to kill him with the sword, which is very unfortunate. But he has an herb, so he can do this sort of poke in, poke out strat. If your HP was too low or you didn't have the herb and you're in this situation, you would need to go all the way around to the other side. And get into a position where the monkeys will come after you without having to dip into the lava. But no problem. He gets through. Stinger out of Durian.
Yeah. If he stayed on the lava there for like a split second more, he would have died, but he didn't.
I saw that little bit of panic there.
Lost Core caught up quite nicely here. Let's see if he can... He already killed the monkey, so he just has to get there, which his HP is good for. Very nice.
Good gem counts on Sin's side as well.
Easy. 1 HP. Easy every time.
Wow. I'm guessing he probably didn't grab that herb.
Nope.
I want to watch his inventory.
Hulk already having 33 gems as well. 38. Nice. Good count. Good count.
Yeah, I like to come out of the area, like, the 2 layers that we fought just before entering Durian with at least 30. But now, Stinger picking up the most important item in the game, the ever-powerful Thunder Ring. It's so important we'll only use it once.
I mean, it's that valuable, yeah. This is pretty much just busy work, honestly, the Thunder Ring, that is. We mentioned metal enemies before. There are metal enemies here. They are the metal Donkey Kongs that we already saw in the last area. We can't hit them, of course. One way to do it, though, there's little notes in the upcoming area where if you have the Thunder Ring equipped, it will call down thunder. And then you will be able to hit them or kill them with that, and that's pretty much all you can do with it.
Yeah, this game itself has a lot of area-specific items, like one-time use things that's just for the specific world you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, no herb on Lost Core. He took a risk and it paid off.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to imagine that Hulk did the same.
Probably. These crab enemies are super annoying. You can destroy them with the weapon that destroys metal enemies, but of course we don't have that right now. So while they're in their shell, they can't be damaged. And when they come out of their shell, yes, they can be damaged while they're moving from one tile to the other. However, they move so quickly that most of the time, you really gotta know where they're gonna go and sort of follow them preemptively to kill them in one shot. Otherwise, they can kill a lot of time just going in and out of their shell while you're chasing them around. Here we got the metal decays. Stinger just going to lure them over to the node. Hop didn't gain level 9, which is good. Sometimes if your experience curve is a little off, you'll gain level 9 there, and then your death warp is a little bit slower.
We'll probably see that on Lost Core and Hulk. They might have gotten too much XP. Sure,
Yeah,
looks like
from
it.
the deaths.
Yeah, because one other thing that is really bad about dying preemptively or when you don't want to in this game is that your experience will definitely be off. Oh, Lost Core actually perfectly, barely missing the level up. Nice.
Yeah, that was a perfect death warp setup. If you got too much HP, it's not a huge deal. You can just remove your armor. Otherwise, it's going to take a long time, but he's got that perfect setup. Just wait. I'm a little ashamed to see none of these guys know the proper fish bubble. If you go directly right from the layer and straight down, then you'll get the fish bubble right, and then you won't have to, recycle.
Yeah, Lost Core did a really good job at that death warp though. Perfect setup for it.
Yeah, for sure. They ain't gonna stop me from busting them later.
Of course, I mean, that's what you do.
Indeed. Now Stinger about to pick up the most important item of the game. No joking here. This is straight up the game changer. The Power Bracelet, which doubles your attack for both swings and sword pokes. So now as we give a little poke to these bosses, they're going to go down pretty quickly.
Yes, the important thing here is the poke damage. So normally you have no way of increasing that. It's just like pretty straight up going to do 1 damage almost every time unless your sword is really powerful. With the Power Bracelet, the double damage means we can do 2 damage at a time with poking, and that's gonna be very, very useful here. Stinger not... Oh, I'm not gonna say it. I didn't say a thing, Stinger's just gonna cream this boss. This is actually one of the more... well... this is not a very dangerous boss if you do it right, if you position yourself correctly. But these hands that he spawns, they have a random amount of HP that you have to get them off of, and they do quite a bit of damage. So the amount of swings you have to take in order to kill them is random, which can be very annoying. Stinger got pretty unlucky on the right hand there, but as long as you're in the right position, very nicely done. Very nicely done there.
Yeah, so Stingers, typically you're going to hit level 9 before getting into this boss because you get that extra point of defense. Stinger came in here at level 8, which is extra dangerous, but pulled it off real nice.
Yeah. Yeah, you are 3-hit, I believe, on level 8, which is, well, very nerve-wracking, but, yeah. Kept cool, did it all perfectly, is moving on. Lost Core, meanwhile, as well. Very nice. I was gonna say Stinger didn't open the node to the main hub, but yeah, I stopped myself.
I know what you're gonna say.
if you die on the boss,
halfway. Level 8 with half health, I was sweating myself.
Alright, so far, this is pretty much actually the halfway point of the game. The first couple worlds take a little bit longer because you have a lot more stuff that you have to do. In the upcoming worlds that we're gonna be in, there's still a lot of stuff in those worlds, but a lot of more of it is optional. So you'll see a lot more skipping of layers here and there that than we already have seen, which is kind of interesting.
Little safety top up by Sin there. I don't blame him. Things can get dicey.
Alright, World 4 is the Mountain of Souls, which has some quite interesting enemies. The first interesting one that we see here is the bats, which move actually diagonally depending on where you are. And of course, with the right positioning, you can bait them just properly and then finish them off, because they position themselves relatively nicely. But yeah, there's gonna be some quite heavy use of magic if the game permits this for us here. The light arrow is gonna be the MVP of this world. Okay. There's also these little snowballs. You can actually kill them if you have a weapon, the Soul Blade, and they do give quite a bit of XP, but we're not that far yet. And one very important pickup here is the magic armor. So, the light arrow does cost 8 gems, but the magic armor does not only... is not only on our way, pretty much. Upgrades our defense, and it reduces the gem cost of your spells by 50%. So instead of having to sacrifice 8 gems per light arrow, we're now down to 4, which is really, really nice, very handy.
Well, yeah, you want that extra defense too. This area, the enemies just sort of ramp up. The HP is really, really high. You don't do very much damage at this point. They do a lot of damage at this point without that magic armor. But, of course, the gem cost is the most important thing coming out of that, especially for this one.
Yep. I was about to say we should be getting another level up here. Stinger took quite a bit of liberal damage there, but we did get the level up. You want to be very careful with these skeleton deers or whatever. If you do trigger them, they have quite a bit of HP. They die to a good shot of magic, of course, but they do lag the game really, really hard if they throw their head around. The game can't quite handle that properly. Hooray! Hooray!
So yeah, they released the boy here who gives us access to one of those individual items that are just used in one world, which in this case is the mushroom shoes, which will allow us to move on the slippery ice with control and not with free sliding action.
We actually have to use those twice, not only once, but twice. Great.
Makes it the most important world-specific item of them all.
Yeah, this is the most annoying part about World 4. You have to go back, get them, and then you have to walk all the way back up just to use the one item to continue.
Yeah, where another one of those little optimizations comes in, because you're returning up here, there was a layer that Lost Core didn't open. You killed the final enemy with a gem just before entering the door to the cave. Small little time saves that would make all the difference in this. And of course not dying, because dying is very easy in this game. They all use the same strat for pushing the snowballs, I just noticed.
Stinger is doing really, really well. He had a couple hiccups, but other than that, he has been very solid. No big mistakes, which is very important in a race, of course.
There's only a tickle behind his PV, too.
Yeah. I haven't quite talked about it just yet, but some layers, like the one we see right now, instead of actually like spawning one enemy at the after another after you kill it immediately, or spawning them all at the same time, they have a timer and spawn them after a short while if you're close by. This is one of them. So you could just technically pretty much wait until all of these slimes are out, but it's a bit faster to just, you know, try and kill them pretty quickly when they spawn.
Yeah, there's a few different layer types. Some where the enemies come out, just on like the timer, like he was saying, but sometimes the timer is a little bit tighter, so they're coming out more frequently. But there is a layer type that is not in the speedrun that exists in this game, where an enemy will not come out of it until you're within 2 tiles of it. You see it a lot in rando, but in the speedrun, by some weird coincidence, none of those layers have that requirement.
And the big reason we want all these gems in this world are these bats we just killed in this layer. The bats will circle around you, and it's super hard to hit them with the sword if you are going to try to go for that. The light arrow, however, if you shoot it at the exact right time, will be able to one-shot them nice and easy.
Yeah, and on top of the birds, there's these wizard enemies in this area where if you approach them too close, they'll teleport and then reappear, and then they have iframes while they're reappearing, and then they'll attack, and then iframe teleport away, and they're super annoying, so you definitely want to have enough magic to stay at a distance and kill them without having to chase them around.
Stinger had a little bit of trouble there, and Lost Core is actually retaking the lead at this point. Very close though.
It's anyone's game.
We still got plenty of RNG.
I'm gonna make a time marker here. 52-51 on Lucky Blade. Just kind of want to see where Hulk is by comparison.
So this is actually the first weapon pickup since we got the first sword, the Lucky Blade, and this one has kind of an interesting property, which, simply put, it increases the rate of which you get gems. So you have a better chance at getting a higher or a better gem if you have the Lucky Blade equipped. It is also, of course, stronger than the one sword that we had, but that's the main gimmick for that sword, and we're gonna, of course, hope that it actually puts it into effect. What happens in the game is every frame the game pretty much has decided what kind of gem drop you get. So if you hit the right frames, you always get good gem drops, right? But the Lucky Blade increases the frames of good gem drops, essentially.
One point of note about swords that we haven't really talked about either is swords have level requirements to swing it. So even though they have the Lucky Blade, they're not high enough level to actually swing it yet. They can only do poke damage with it. That whole level rule will play an important role later, but we'll just touch on that when we get to it. Because of these bat enemies will just follow you no matter where you are, off screen or on screen, once they've seen you sort of on screen. Stinger rather, Lost Core did the same thing, went and grabbed those bats early to pull them over here just to do a double lift. Okay, Hulk caught up to Sin. They're like pretty much at the same spot here.
Yep.
The man is a monster.
Sin has been doing really solidly though. Like, he doesn't use the fastest strats in a lot of places, of course, but he's been executing the strats he knows very, very solidly. No big mistakes, just doing his thing, very nice.
Oh yeah, I'm super happy with the way this is going. There were some nice upsets to make for some drama. Oh, Hulk is still a little behind by about 40 seconds behind Lost Core.
Yeah, but he also died twice, not only one time. That's a big one.
Oh, it's just testament to how much of a monster he is.
I think this is legit the first time I saw Hulk die in a race though.
I concur. get introduced to a new enemy in this section of World 4. These kind of statues that create these little spike, I don't know what you really want to call them. They create 3 little areas of spikes around your character. They're not really dangerous or anything like that, but they do cause a lot of lag. And we got Stinger here doubling up on these layers, getting both the wizards and the slimes to spawn, which is nice because the slime spawn is pretty slow.
Oh, Lost Core just immediately going for the boss, eh? Alright. Poseidon, which is a very hard boss, honestly. I mean, you'll have to see the strats that we are using for Poseidon are very hard to execute. Yeah. Okay.
Geez, that was a close one.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Alright. Oh man, the reaction time from Lost Core. Yeah, I actually dodged that one. Yeah, you can dodge the damage, but technically you don't have to if you have proper health management. Stinger's got a little bit of a different strat than Lost Core does here. Lost Core just immediately went to the boss, killed it. No fear. Stinger's gonna, which we have to do anyway. We have to kill the layers, so Lost Core's gonna have to go back and kill some layers here now, and the layers here now anyway. Stinger's throwing it ahead of time because you can open up a layer to the hub, and that's a bit of safety.
Yeah, also, because it doesn't really matter what order, the only thing that does matter is that there's 2 layers you want to release after the boss is done to save on some dialogue and all that.
Indeed. Very important layers, though.
The best layers. Yeah, I'm not too sure if Hulk will still be using this strat, but optionally, you can do these layers as well after the boss. So, like, for example, I'll do these layers after the boss, and I'll use the bats, because we're going to do a death warp. So I'll use the bats coming out of the layer to set up my death warp while I'm getting them killed. But it's really all just sort of preference. Very minor time saves, depending on how you want to do it.
Okay, Stinger deciding, alright, cool, we'll go on for the boss now. Let's watch these amazing strats in action.
If you've got full health, you can tank every single hit. If you got about half a health bar, you can tank 3 hits. But there's only 2 hits you need to tank that you can't really dodge and still get full damage, and that's these center ones. So, for the most part, like, this boss is so ridiculously free, it's not even funny.
One thing to pay attention to, though, as the sirens go off in my back, you do want to have the power bracelet equipped, otherwise, if you forget to put that on, well, you don't notice that you do enough damage, and all of a sudden you don't have HP anymore, and you think, what's happening?
Yeah, that does happen. So you have to switch out that power bracelet for the mushroom shoes, so a lot of the times a guy will just forget to put it back on after.
Alright, so Lost Core is taking quite a comfortable lead here. Stinger has to still open these 2 layers and then do a death warp. We're releasing the Grandmas here, which are not going to be important until the very end of the game. And unlike every other world, by the way, every world has a leader, like a mayor, or a big tree, or the Mermaid Queen. This one has the Mountain King, but you don't actually go to the Mountain King to get the stone. You have to release the snail gnome in the prison, and he will actually give you the stone. It's pretty untypical for every world.
The king's too busy looking all adorable up in his big chair with his little son.
This is true, yeah.
And this is probably everybody's favorite world, just because of the banger music that happens in the basement.
Yep, switch audio real quick.
Otherwise, this world is absolutely horrendous. Deaths abound everywhere, the enemies are very difficult, they do a lot of damage. It's just not fun.
This is going to be the first world where metal enemies are going to be a regularity, and the game gives you the proper sword at the very start here, that you have to unlock the Sentetsu sword, which will cut metal. Unfortunately, the level requirement for it is level 16, so all we can do, we're level 13 right now, all we can do is poke enemies with it, and that's what makes the eLmaGus so immensely dangerous. You can't just swing at your enemy and stun it or anything like that, you have to actually poke all of it. So there's gonna be some very intense poking here. Fortunately, the worms, at least, you can kill with magic. Which Lost Core, of course, decides to not do, because... Ah, there we go. There. Very important in this world to keep track of the experience as well. You want to know exactly where you level up.
Yeah, and you don't want to take too much damage before the next section when we go into the sub-basement or whatever you want. Because there will be a lot of forced damage to take if you didn't pick up that ice armor in the second one.
Indeed.
And then you got the speed mouse, which are some of the most annoying enemies in the game. They move very fast. If one gets away, you are waiting a very long time as it runs its circle around the entire map to make it back to where you are. And here we are with the lava floor and force damage sections. This is probably the hardest, most brutal, dangerous area of the game, this sub-basement here. Dying here costs a lot of time in recovery. You either need to take it very slow and kill a lot of enemies, or you need to kill enemies just to open extra pathways so you're taking less lava damage, or you gotta go back and get another herb, or you gotta go back and get the ice armor. Some sort of major backtrack if you die here. Very uncool.
Lost Core is doing a fantastic job so far, though.
That's why we set up that herb and proc that herb, and there will also be another level up coming very shortly, so taking a bit more damage is not so bad, but you still have to be very careful.
Yeah.
Especially in this section here.
Lost Core is going to try to spawn a couple of cleaning robots at the same time as he is already clearing out the helicopters here. The robots, fortunately, are vulnerable to magic, so you can just shoot a couple light arrows and take care of them. Very nice. Very nice.
We'll be death warping out of this area, so spamming magic's not a big deal.
Stinger! Ay ay ay. Hold your breath with StingerPA.
I think he's going to slow it down and kill a couple of these dozer enemies, be my guess. Oh no, we'll just go in the Fury with 1,000 barbarians.
He doesn't care. Let's go. Let's go. Gotta go fast. I think he knows that he's not far behind Lost Core right now. Going for the same strategy there as well. Meanwhile, Lost Core making very nice progress here. Perfect execution right there as well. Very nice start to Leo's lab for him.
Yeah, this strat with the helicopters and the sweeper bots is relatively new. It's just born out of the TAS.
Yeah, so about 2 years ago, Hulk was the absolute king of this game. Nobody could touch him, and then really a couple of people very, very slowly, yeah, including me, started to implement these quote-unquote TAS strats where you would just like do some ridiculous stuff that was not really thought viable before, and it stuck, like some of it at least. And yeah, I wonder what would have happened if we didn't actually do that. Like, Hulk would still have a 140 and beat the record, or 139 I think it was at the time. Now it's down to like ridiculous amounts, like 134 I believe, or 133, I don't know. It's insane.
Yeah, pretty much all just micro optimizations, a couple like double layers, and next thing you know, all that time was just sitting there. Though sub 140 should be free, it's still definitely not.
I mean,
bad things happen.
I do.
Well, it's apparently not free for plebs like me. I'll let you say that.
It's a hard game to play, to be fair. Like, one tiny mistake and you lose minutes, as we saw in this race from the two top runners already. Like, it's really hard. And it's not like they are using, oh yeah, these are world record strats, right? Well, sure, but like, most of it is still something, or still stuff you want to do even if you quote-unquote casually speedrun the game. So it's not like you can just do super safety strats and you're safe. It's gonna be hard either way.
Okay, it looks like Sin is setting himself up a death. I don't think he liked the health that he ended up with, so he's probably just topping up his...
Smart move, to be fair. It's like, if you notice, okay, I can't make it with this health, let's just abort and try again while we're all here.
Absolutely. I'd like to say that this model town section is my favorite part of the game.
Really?
Not speedrun wise, just casual. I just love this. I love the whole concept of it. I know people hate it, but I just love it.
Yeah, okay. At least you know.
It can be hard. There are a lot of invisible enemies in this area. We're not too worried about them in the speedrun per se, but there is a soul in this world that will allow you to see the invisible enemies. But there's only a couple that we're going to bother killing, so we know where they are. It's all.
Indeed. Yeah, specifically the second model town, you just walk around once, kill a lair, and then you death warp.
Yeah, like right here. Yep, invisible enemy done. May have looked like he was just swinging at nothing on that hill.
Lost Core with the very risky strats, preemptively unequipping the armor to take damage, but he managed to be in very nice health for a death warp here. Very nicely done. That was a very dangerous thing.
It was. And this is one of those death warps where removing your armor is not even that necessary. These things will still do a lot of damage to you, even if you have the magic armor still equipped. But it does help, especially if you're already like very close to max health.
Yep, and with that, we're already at the end of Leo's lab. This is where we skip the light armor, of course, right?
Yeah, sure, everyone does that.
What? I don't understand. I don't get it.
This armor has a very cool function that you will never see in a speedrun, but if you go back to earlier worlds, basically World 3 and less, like all the enemies there, when they touch you, they will do no damage. It's as if you were a metal enemy and they're ting off you.
Yeah. So light armor skip has been a meme, like for more than 5 years now, honestly. It is technically faster to skip the light armor, but the defense is so good that if you get hit like later on, like once without it, you already lose time. It's like, it's insane. It's definitely a task-only thing.
Yeah, going through world people with up to light armor is scary.
Yeah. We're at the boss Tyndall on Lost Core stream right now, which is another very hard boss. Well, this boss is actually really difficult if you go in casually, because he moves around, teleports on these little nodes on the side and all that, shoots rockets, damages you constantly. Fortunately though, he works just like most other enemies in this game, where if you are in a certain position, he'll just do a certain movement and you can poke him to death.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
That Lost Core moves on to World 6.
Yeah, very nice pace. Again, you can actually open up a safety node to the main hub here, but Lost Core decided to skip over that, because he's a boss.
Wait, what just happened? Oh, he death warped out.
Yeah.
Jeez.
He has to, he didn't open...
He already killed the boss, I'm like, wait.
Yeah. This is, a bit interesting, because debatably, you want to keep your gems for the next world, but if you get lucky, it doesn't matter. So let's hope you get lucky with gems in the next world. we'll probably see Stinger open up the node here. Yeah, he already took a lot of damage too. It's like you have to take pretty much damage on Tyndall. Not necessarily, but it's very hard to do with the boss damage list. So he's gonna open up a safety node here.
Constant damage or so.
Hmm. Yeah, this not opening up this node specifically is one of the most recent things too, because it's like so hard to do Tyndall or not take enough a lot damage before Tyndall as well. See, now Stinger doing a really good job here.
3 hits, half health. And if you're not dodging properly, he will definitely hit you more than 3 times.
Oh yeah. Alright, Lost Core in Magritt's castle. And if you thought metal enemies are annoying, don't worry, we got even more annoying stuff for you right here. We're gonna pick up the Spirit Sword, which we can't swing just yet, but we need it in order to kill the little ghosts here, which just randomly disappear and reappear. So you have to...
also picked up...
No, go ahead. No, you go.
I'll just tell you, I also picked up the harp string, which is kind of in a dumb spot, and there's no real clear clue as to how to find it. But of course, it is the specific plot item for this world.
Yeah, so these little ghosts, as long as you are on the right tile, they will never hit you. They will teleport and circle around you. But the problem is, they randomly appear and disappear, so you can just get extremely unlucky and just lose time for no good reason, really.
That level up was close.
It's pretty much scripted that he levels up there, yeah.
I mean, to say like he was like 1, maybe 2 hits away from dying.
He was, but you know, calculated as they say. The cool kids.
And here, one of the souls in this world will allow you to see these hidden chests. You notice that chest just sort of popped out of nowhere, as will this one. Boop! But of course we know where those chests are. But there's quite a few of these little invisible chests in this world.
Alright, this part where Lost Core is on right now is mainly where you want the gems for. There are these little electrified balls that spawn, and they have really annoying movement patterns if you get too close to them. Fortunately, you can shoot them with magic, but
unfortunately, he's very low on gems right now.
That's because of the...
Yeah, I mean, in the situation that he is in, I think taking a second to throw the magic armor back on. He's got his sword strats, never mind. He made short work of those guys, no problem.
Easy money. But yeah,
that seems faster than Magic Arrow, to be honest.
Debatable. Depends on how fast you can adjust your soul, I guess, but yeah. Alright, he's taking a little bit of damage here. We got this ghost layer here that we have to clean out, but after that we want to do a death ward.
Yeah, you might see some different approaches on this particular ghost layer, like, for example, Lost Core and Stinger already did slightly different strats. You might see Hulk lure them back and just keep a sword poke on them and not stop moving. I'm not too sure what he's using these days.
Okay, there's the death warp from Lost Core, and this is the one specific time we actually equip the bottle that we picked up on the way here to maintain our gems, because for the next part we definitely want to have a couple gems too. We unlocked the left tower here, which we do need a card to get in there, but the harp string fortunately enables us to make the little musician that tells us a little story here play the music, and then the soldier drops the silver card and we can get into the top left tower from here.
And by little story, he pretty much reads you the entirety of the Lord of the Rings.
I mean, okay. Yeah.
He just doesn't stop talking about a girl who doesn't even know her name. And he's all like, "Oh, I was in this place called Grass Valley, and this girl helped me, and I fell in love with her. Her name was something like Lisa."
That's something like Lisa. I mean, very hard to remember a four-letter name. But yeah, the left tower here throws you into these little quadratic spaces with one layer each, and the goal here is pretty much to kill the layers you need in order to advance. And having a lot of gems here means you can preemptively try to kill enemies and save quite a bit of time. One thing to note is that you don't want to have too many enemies here on the screen at the very same time, because that will create quite a bit of lag, especially considering a lot of fireball shooting going on here from these little statues that are in your way. So you want to kind of time your shots properly in order to create as little lag as possible. Oscar doing a very good job here.
The first floor. And this room's got some hidden walls, as well as the other tower, which again you would need the soul to see, or you can just trial and error and try and walk through the walls, try and figure out how you get into that room with that guy.
I will give you a gift when you come back. Why, thank you. And the next, so the last spot of the left tower here, very, very crucial to have magic here too, because you can save quite a bit of time by shooting these enemies preemptively. Nice, very well done from Lost Score there. There's also a specific order you want to do the releases here, because you can actually save time by not releasing the second soldier for the airship here before you release Leo. You want to release Leo first, because he has way less dialogue if you do that. Which is kind of interesting. In the Japanese version, interestingly enough, it doesn't matter, because the amount of text is exactly the same. For some reason. Since I can't read it, I can't actually tell you if it says anything differently, but yeah.
Sorry, I had to step away to release a layer.
You are not excused, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to let you run this game after
my
this.
mama told me.
Dude, please.
I assume you explained the releasing these layers at Lost.
Indeed, I did. Stinger entering the tower, as well as Hulk, actually. Which, for those who are joining us late, again, Hulk started 3 minutes late because his IRC died exactly when the race started. So he couldn't see that the race actually started.
Lost Corps, pick up the card from the Queen for the other tower. She basically forces you to pay her a compliment to give you the card.
Yeah, it's a but thou must situation. The right tower is actually kind of dangerous because you have a lot of, like, well, on-the-fly adjustments you have to make here depending on how you're positioned towards the enemies. The little horses that jump around randomly too, so quite a few things you have to actually react to rather than, you have a certain position you have to be in. And these enemies still, even though you have quite a reasonable armor at this point, do quite a bit of damage, so you see Lost Corps struggling a little bit there, but overall getting through nice and handily.
Oh, somehow Stinger's shot missed there on the jailbreak. It's almost like the hitbox was negated by the bars disappearing or something. So it clearly went through the enemy.
And in speedrun fashion, of course, in the right tower, we ignore pretty much everything aside from the one layer we released at the start.
The treasure box ain't real. The treasure box gives you trust issues.
Alright, let's see. Let's Lost Core skip the refill, of course.
Oh, this is kind of one of the safer... Well, actually, that's not necessarily true. This is kind of low health to be coming in this boss.
I sure hope he's not Jenny at 22 dives.
It's not the dives, it's the fire that I'm worried about. You know, when he's doing his left to right.
Yeah. So we'll have the longest cutscene in the game right here before the next boss fight, which Leo tells you all about the world of evil and how Death Toll is back. And he wants to use the airship to get there. But then Queen Margaret shows up, and you know, she wants to still, you know, sacrifice everything and you know, keep Death Toll alive so she can satisfy her own greed. Leo's of course gonna try to stop that, but he does it in a, well, very interesting fashion.
Father's love knows no bounds.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Lisa, by the way, is Dr. Leo's daughter. Which the girl we saw for like 20 seconds, and we invaded her dream at the very start of the run. We're also madly in love with her, if you didn't notice. I mean... The translation here, by the way, is gold too.
Everybody else completely disintegrated, but Leo's cool.
Oh, he's fine.
Still exists.
Alright, and we will use the airship now to fight the demon bird, which is, as we all know, birds are jerks.
What do you guess?
I'm gonna guess 3 for the Lost Core 1.
As a casualty, this
2.
boss can be pretty annoying if you don't
3.
know how to deal with him. But if you know how to deal with him,
4.
the speed strat is quite nice. These dives, from what we believe, from what we understand, it's supposed to be 50-50 whether he'll do this fire attack or whether he'll do a dive.
Yeah.
Of course, should be able to take the rest.
4 is not
That's
ideal.
what we want. Two cycles of him going left and right will take him out if you're ready.
Yep. So if you poke him just right, he will shoot this fire, but if you poke him just right, the fire will actually not spawn, and you can poke him very aggressively. Oh my god, Stinger almost died. Jeez.
Stinger was so close to that.
But yeah.
My heart can't take it.
4 dives, every dive, it's pretty much random, like you said. Every dive costs a lot of time, so ideally you have 0, of course. 4 is kind of bad. Definitely not good. But still not the worst we've ever seen. That honor is 22 by our good friend Jenny at 23.
Imagine flipping a coin 22 times and getting heads every time.
Yeah, that's about right. We'll see how the other people do in just a bit. Stinger and Hulk pretty much in the same spot right now. Wilson is still clearing up the left tower, so he still has a little bit of work to do.
And shoutouts to that the soldier who took 3 spears in the chest. Ooh, death by sin.
That's an ugly
not
one.
good right at the end. I mean, it's a short walk back up the tower, but not what a guy wanted to see at that point for sure.
Yeah.
Now, Lost Core grabbing the super secret, super awesome Invulnerability Bracelet, which, like the Power Bracelet, gives you twice the attack, but like the Defense Bracelet we didn't pick up, also gives you twice the defense.
Yep.
Which, for the world of evil, is huge. Going in there without that bracelet is it's pretty much a time loss, unless it all just flows so perfectly.
Yeah, you can definitely do it.
Iffy.
Hulk has done it before in runs, and it actually worked. but it's really hard.
Lost Core moving on to the final world. We're getting close to the conclusion.
Indeed. Meanwhile, Stinger plugging in the key. We'll pay attention to the dive count.
Yeah, I'm gonna take time marks after the boss dies.
One. Two. Two so far. You need 2 rounds of him not diving at you in order to kill him. 3. 4. Not ideal. 4 as well.
4 and 4.
Yeah. Not ideal, but again, it could be far worse. Meanwhile, Lost Core. Oh, 1 dive for Hulk. I'm gonna count that too. Lost Core making his way through the world of evil, where experience just skyrockets, essentially. Is that 3 dives for Hulk so far?
That's 4 for Hulk.
Also? Really? Wow.
Yep.
Nice. Well, safe bet that Sin is gonna get 4, eh? I mean... I'm gonna have to ask the IRC. There's other people racing, by the way. Some people just for fun. Other people also running the game. We have 12 racers this time, which is a pretty huge turnout, honestly, for very little advertisement. So, shouts to everybody who's currently racing. I'll have to ask, make a poll, how many people got 4 dives.
This looks like Hulk's about 3 minutes ahead of, give or take.
That's about right, because then they're in the same spot.
Now, Lost Core just picked up the best armor in the game, the Soul Armor, which you need to enter the next section. If you don't have it entering the next section, you will take constant damage, basically every time that you see these ghosts sort of appear on screen.
I was about to say, need is a strong word. You don't need it, but it's definitely a very good thing to have.
Well, you do need it in the sense that you cannot use the ultimate magic to beat the final boss without it.
This is true.
Also, these mirror wall type rolling enemy things can only be defeated by the Soul Blade, and give a ridiculous amount of experience, which we'll be using to grind out level 24, because we cannot swing the Soul Blade, which we need to be able to do to defeat the last boss, until level 24 and 420,000 experience. Make your memes, I won't say it.
Yep. So we're going to do our little grinding session right now, just for that. And you used to do this at the very end. It is slightly faster to do it just now. For level 24, because this is Soul Blazer, you of course need 420,000 experience. Duh. It's like they're new. Anyway, they're gonna grind up to a very specific amount of XP. We still have a couple things to do before we can actually go to the final boss, and they're going to grind to just before 420,000 experience, and then leave the place. So Lost Core is almost done here.
Yeah, the exact number they want is like, what, 38,000?
30. I had the number written down at some point, but I forgot. Yeah, 38,000 something.
You might see some people still doing this after they return from getting the Phoenix spell, but not too sure who's still using those strats. But for now, it's just a matter of leaving, collecting the last couple items for Lost Core, and heading back here for the final encounter.
Oh. So as it turns out, even though we are in the world of evil, the palace where Deathful resides did not show up quite yet. We do have to release Phoenix, the ultimate magical being, in order for us to be able to enter that place. But how would you do that? The game doesn't actually tell you. You have to collect 3 red hot items, which are scattered around the world, This game pretty much is about a lot of backtracking. You remember the metal enemies in World 1 we couldn't kill and all that? They have their own layers there, but you have to go back to them in order to kill them with, like, you know, weapons you find in World 5, 6, or 7. And yeah, 2 specific layers that we need in order to access Red Hot items we will backtrack to. In World 3, there is one Metal Donkey Kong layer here that we need to actually seal in order to get one of the items. And then in World 2, there is another one where the suns are. We need to kill some suns to get the other one.
Yeah, and you can see Lost Core coming through here without the bubble armor. That's not just because he has enough HP to tank his way through, but because we're also setting up for a death warp to get out of this area a little quicker, a lot quicker.
Alright, Sen's getting his 4 dive setup. Nice and easy.
Let's go. Give me the 4. I want it now. I want 0 dives really, but at this point it's like, can we just do the 4 and everybody be the same?
0 so far. That's boring. I don't like this. Don't do it.
1.
1, yeah.
2.
Hey. 2 more.
3. Come on, baby. Do it for me.
Do it.
Okay, now you need to go across. Oh, ruined.
Boo. We're still at 4, right? Yeah, 4. Nobody saw the 5th one. Definitely 4.
Alright, now back to the last area of World 2 to kill these spirit enemies for the final item. There are, of course, other spirit enemies and other metal enemies, but they are not necessary to the layers that we have to access.
And there is Lost Course level up at 420,000 experience. Shouts to Enix. Way ahead of their time. We do release this little bird here. And this is probably the most annoying NPC in the entire game.
Yeah, watching people try to figure this out casually is too funny.
If you have played this game, you know what I'm talking about, yeah. So this little fella has our last red out item. But in order to talk to him, we have to catch him. And the way you do that is you have to be having a certain distance from him and then walk up to him from behind. You wouldn't really figure that out if you know, just play the game casually and then just like try to talk to him and he's just like escaping from you every single time. But yeah.
Yeah, if you talk to the stump that he originally starts on, the stump will say, you know, shy birds need to be approached from behind, but when you're trying to chase this bird down, you're not thinking about talking to the stump. You just want to catch this bird.
Yeah. Alright, so Lost Core is coming up to the best cutscene in the game. And the whole reason we released the Grandmas, you have to release the Grandmas here. The Phoenix resides in the Mountain of Souls, and we actually have the reason to talk to the Mountain King for the first time, because he will actually be the catalyst to release the Phoenix from his prison.
Dancing grandmas.
Whee! Yeah, they have to dance, otherwise Phoenix doesn't get released. And yes, you do have to actually release them for that. The magic of Phoenix.
The magic of Phoenix compels you.
How does the bird hold the mirror? You're asking too many
claws.
questions.
I hear a swallow can hold a coconut.
Huh.
That was a Monty Python joke.
As soon as you release Phoenix, Death Toll appears in the World of Evil, and you can go kill the final boss, which we're going to do.
Yeah, this final boss consists of two parts, the easy part and the not so easy.
Yep.
The one merit to doing the grind after you get Phoenix is you'll be able to grind out some extra gems instead of needing to get them during the boss fight, but for pros like this, it's not really good.
Yep. So the easy part you saw, you pretty much stand close to him, swing your sword, and deal massive amounts of damage, but now the true final boss will appear. And you do need Phoenix, the Soul Blade, and Soul Armor for it. You do need to be able to shoot the Phoenix, that's what you need the Soul Blade and Armor for. You won't be able to use it otherwise. And you need Phoenix in order to hit his face.
Yes, and he only opens up his invulnerability as soon as these 4 flames are gone, and then it's only open briefly.
Yep.
So you need to get in there and get your 4 hits in before...
This fight actually requires a huge amount of tech, because if you shoot the Phoenix while anything else is going on the screen, it lags tremendously. So what the runners are going to try to do is time the cycles in a way where no lasers or fireballs are on the screen. Which Lost Core is doing a fantastic job, honestly, on that.
A little annoying when there's one or the other, but when you're shooting Phoenix and there's lasers and fireballs, it's sick. I'm not entirely sure exactly how many hits it takes to kill the boss. I think it's 24, but I don't quite. It's very hard to try and figure out. Sometimes it's hard to tell if that's a hit or just, you know, damage sounds and flash from the previous hit.
And that's GG for Lost Core with a final time of 1:38.22. He takes first place. Nice run. We forget about the Lion Hat statues. This would be probably a 136 at least, maybe a 135. Well, we will find out, Scars. Remember, so for those who joined late, I will reiterate, Hulk did start the race 3 minutes late because his IRC died just as the race started, so he couldn't see that the race actually started. We'll find out. We'll find out. For now, we will be able to enjoy a little bit of credits here, which have a very nice theme song as Stinger and Hulk approach the final boss. Stinger, I'm up. Level... Oh yeah, Stinger still has to do the grind, so he's going with a different strat. Well, Hulk already did the grind as well.
Yeah, it looks like Sin's going for the after grind as well.
Whereas Hulk is moving in right now.
This is gonna be tight. This is gonna be real tight, first and second.
Yeah. So Hulk has his own timer running, so we can tell on that. 1:38.22 is the target time for Hulk.
Yeah, by the looks of it, he'll be coming in second with probably a 1:37. Or sorry, 1:39. My apologies.
Alright, here we go. If he gets a really clean fight, this might be actually really close. He's getting lag here already. Sub 140 is definitely a really good time. Let me tell you. As somebody who had an exactly 140 at the live RPG limit break, I'm kind of envious. And I did not die, so there is that. This could be a nail biter. Hulk has 20 seconds right now.
Oh, yeah.
One more cycle, maybe. I don't know. This is really close.
Ridiculously close.
Ah, he's going to just miss it.
Wow.
Alright, we're over now, but he should be done after this one, I believe. Yep. 10 seconds behind lost score. GG. 138.32. 10 seconds behind lost score. What a nice... It's a shame that we didn't have that next to each other. Oh man, that would have been a hype finish, honestly.
Absolutely.
Dang. Meanwhile, Stinger should be almost done as well. Just to reiterate, the two that finished in first still blasted away time from a reasonable runner with dying once or twice. That's how good they are.
Here's the last cycle for Stinger. GG.
Boom. A 142.47 in IRC. Says 142.42 for me. GG Stinger. Very nice run, honestly. A bit of hiccups here and there, but very solid play. Very solid play.
Yeah, I was really happy with this race. We'll just wait for Sin to wrap up. And
Yep, definitely.
Anybody else liked what they saw with this game? I mean, we definitely have an awesome community, and we'll help you out if you want to pick it up.
It's a pretty cool speedrun. Very challenging, for sure, but very cool.
Very execution heavy. Dancing grandmas.
Whee!
Like good sleep comes after hard work, good rest comes after an honest life.
You did well, Stinger, you did well. GG, man. Alright, so we'll be moving in to the grind to get level 24 and then to the final boss. He had really solid play too, one very unfortunate death in the left tower that cost him quite a bit of time there, which is really, really unfortunate. But other than that, very solid play.
Just looking up some of the other people running right now. Poaxel is just close to the end here. He's doing his final wrap up.
The ultimate level up spot. Yeah, so you can actually level up to level 50 in this game, which is actually a ridiculous amount of experience, but you're supposed to do it right there, essentially.
Yeah, there's no real better option.
Yeah. If you have too much time on your hands and you're bored, well. Alrighty. So moving in. And we should be able to keep it maybe at 149 here. With a good fight, let's hope for the best.
Well, looking at a lot of these other entrants, I'm really impressed how everyone's kept up really well.
Yeah, there's a lot of reoccurring appearances here from racers, who actually already mentioned, RPG Chick, and all of those people who race every year, so they naturally get better every year.
Yeah, the majority of them are wrapping up Magrid, or at the very least, Leo's.
Indeed, indeed. It's always nice to see how many new faces we have too. I believe we have 4 new runners at least this year, from what I can tell from the names, which is really, really nice to see. It's a great song, yeah. Which is why I'm keeping it on. Yeah, Sin should be done very soon here. The fight was pretty nice.
Yeah, I think he's got 1, maybe 2 cycles left. There it is. GG for Sin with a 148.31.
Yep. Nice. Oh yeah, that's timer stop also. Ha! For the stream. My bad. GG! Very well done. One unfortunate death, but other than that, very solid play. Very nicely done, guys. I appreciate everybody taking their time and doing this for us. It was very entertaining and really close. Really close. I love that. Got to see everything this game has to offer pretty much, other than releasing all the layers, of course, but you can do that on your own time, if you're interested what's in the other layers, huh? How about that?
Yeah, I'm super happy with the way this race turned out. I'll thank all the participants, GG to all you guys. Thank everybody else who came out today to watch.
Yeah.
Y'all are the best.
Yeah, thank you for commentating with me, Jin. It was a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, my brother.
And all I need from you, chat, now is a random number between 1 and 8. Just put any what comes to mind. Random number between 1 and 8. That's what everybody always
say. Are you finding a target?
Everybody always says 7. What is this? It's rude, man.
Are you looking for a raid target?
Yeah.
I think I might have the best one. At least the one that's the furthest behind would probably be the best one to go with, no? Yes.
Holy Smith finished in 5th place with a 150 flat. That's a very good time. Nice run.
GG.
That's really good. Yeah, hit, okay, sorry chat. I was just kidding. Hit me, Jin. What we got?
Well, I'm thinking Andy, he's still in Mountain of Souls.
Alrighty.
It looks like he's just wrapping up Mountain of Souls. Everybody else is either in Leo's or Magrids.
I see. Cool. Yeah, so like I mentioned...
Andy I'm talking about?
Like I mentioned, some people just joined for the fun of it, and Andy is one of those people that's pretty much played through the game and decided, hey, cool, this is a cool thing we can do. So I'm gonna hit him up with a nice little raid here. I'm gonna watch the credits, of course, on Lost Course stream until the very end. Very important thing that happens at the end. We can't just... This is gonna be our raid message too. And then we can move over to Andy for sure. Just gotta make sure that I don't misspell his name.
I assume the raid message is good luck and or blame Everhate?
Almost correct.
Okay, I'll see what you got then.
All right, the most important part of the credits is coming up here.
So not to play devil's advocate, but Lost Core didn't get the memo on the name.
Ooh. Oh, is he a one-letter name?
He has a one-letter name. I think both takes it.
Ooh. Now this is the referees have to come. Like this is the higher instances. Where are the judges? Oh, because like one-letter name saves quite a significant amount of time in this game, actually. 41-second disadvantage. Well, retroactively, we have to declare Hulk the winner of the race. Congratulations. The heck, dude. Wow. Shame.
It's all in fun, though. It's all in fun, guys. No worries.
I thought you get paid for a win here.
Oh yeah, everybody gets paid for world records, right? That's why we go for them.
That's how it works in the speedrunning community, doesn't it? No? Okay. Yeah, so like Stinger mentioned, that's a 41 seconds disadvantage because a one-letter name saves exactly that much time, which is crazy. Still, Lost Core, of course, with a fantastic run. Naturally. Still sub 140, easily, so... Say hello, Turbo! Bleeds! Alright, cool. And with that, we're gonna hit up Andy over here with this nice little rate message.
Oh, the bleats! Okay, that's cool. I'll roll with it.
Thank you all for coming out. I hope you enjoyed our little race. A lot of people are still going. If you're interested in watching anybody else, you can check out Speedruns Live and the races there. Yeah, thank you for being a part of this, and hope you have a nice rest of your weekend. Cheers.
Yeah, we could just search up whoever's streaming on Twitch right now. Soulblazer, you know, and you get the whole list. Some of them aren't available on SRL.
Sounds like work. Cheers, guys.
Indeed. Take care.